Hey everybody, it's Indigone and welcome back for the next episode of my Washington Quarter Registry set. And again, this portion is only focusing on circulation or business strikes. And today we have the first half of the 60s, so 1960 through 64, the last of the silver era, and then after that, the 65, of course, everything moved into clad. But today I figured I'd go over the weakest portion of my silver Washington Quarter collection. Start off with the 60s. As you can see, there are no 61s, and there's not a lot here right now. So I have quite a bit to look for my registry set. And again, for those of you who haven't seen all of these videos, please make sure you check up here in the corner. Start at episode 1, I suggest, because I show you which quarters I'm collecting, which ones, basically what I am collecting, and how I go about it. This decade, I have a lot of work to do. There's a whole lot of place fillers for right now, and not a lot that I'm where I want to be on these. These are a little bit harder, believe it or not. They made more of these than they did of any of the other ones, but these are hard to find in real high grade, and they're hard to find the varieties. So that's a lot to say that these are not the highest quality. So let me go ahead and kind of get these pushed out of the way, and we'll go ahead and get into them, and I'll bring you right back. All right, so let's start off with 1960. And again, as I mentioned, kind of alluded to before, this is only an MS64. This is not where you really want to be on the date, but this one is purely one I kept for eye appeal. It is beautifully toned, very, very nice. It does have some marks out in the field, but the luster is just all there, and it's got that nice peripheral rim tone to it. On the obverse and the reverse, this one I believe was in an old album, but really pretty. Only a 64. Still hold on to it, but it's not a forever coin in the registry. Next up is a Type B reverse, and again, this one is only an MS64, and it is more or less only a placeholder for me right now. So you want to be at least at a 65 on pretty much all of the dates. 66 is usually the target, and then I think a few dates. I know 57 has a decent population in 67, but other than that, I don't think there's really any where there's a ton of 67s. So really trying to hit a 66, and this one is not. It is nice. It's a nice 64, but it is not a 66. See, it's got some contact marks out in the fields, both sides. Bust is fairly clean, but a few distracting marks out in the fields. So that's the 60s. And again, no 61s. Do have no 62s either. I do have one currently at PCGS that is an MS62 type, or no, not type 2. It's a DDO FS101. That is currently at PCGS. That one, if anything, it'll probably grade low mint state, maybe a 62 or 3, and then bad day, probably a 58. But it's a nice coin. It's just not super high grade nice coin. This one, again, 62D, MS64. This one, again, is here for the tone. Very pretty. This one's got some greens and some fuchsias and stuff down there at the bottom. Not nearly as much, not as much on the reverse, and yes, there are some scratches on the holder. I bought it this way, and it's an older holder. It's got a big chip taken out of it. You know, it's just for the tone. That's the only reason that coin's there, and it just kind of fills a spot right now. Next up is my only real big annex quarter for the decade. And this one, and I did forget a few of my annex quarters in my earlier videos, so I'll probably amend those at some point. But they're not really a part of my registry as much as they are there are some extra varieties, and they're non-cherry pickers guide varieties. I included this one because the Type B reverse is an FS 901, even though back then it was only called a Breen 4406. But anyway, this one, MS65, old Annex soap bar. This was after the A&A holder, but not much. So pretty nice Type B. See there. Nice 65. I don't think it's a 66. Got a few marks again on the bust, over the eye, down here on the bottom of the bust. Got some out in here in the field. Got a little slide mark right there over the In God We Trust. The reverse is nice enough, definitely nice enough for a 66, but that's usually the case, right? There are a couple marks on the wing right there and there, but it doesn't have to be perfect for a 66 either. So it's got a 6 reverse and a 5 obverse, and that's what they called it, was a 5. So 63 Type B, again, I am looking to upgrade that one. I do want a 66 or so. But next up is just the generic 63, the base as it's called. Again, only 65. I had high hopes for this quarter. I thought it was going to grade higher, but apparently I missed a few of these marks, like right out in front of the field, by the toning. The toning kind of obstructed some of the marks. So you see some down here as well. Overall, I still like the coin better than a 5. I'm not 100% convinced that if this one got sent back in today, it wouldn't hit a 6, but it's not really worth it. So it's going to stay in a 5, and it'll just be a placeholder for right now. I will admit that the luster on this coin is not 7 luster. It's not. It's just not. And anything from the 60s in a 67 is very, very expensive. More so than the earlier decades, just because there's not a lot of reward there for all that risk to send these in, because they did make so many of them. So you see that huge divergence on the price for a 67 versus a 6, for example. But next up, we have, this one is one of my favorites. This is the 1963 DDO FS101, and let me zoom in and you can actually see it on the coin, if I can get it to focus again. Come on. Right. Maybe it'll focus. Right down there in the bottom of that R, you can kind of see some of it a little bit. Well, why it's not? I'm not looking in there a little bit better. Let's see if I can get it a little bit. Yeah, right there. So that R has a really nice split. If I can get the light to hit it just right. Right there. And the T has got some extra thickness. There's some under the U and the S and the T and all. These are pretty common, all things considered. They can be found in mint sets, and I believe most of them are, which is why an MS65 isn't really the target grade. There are actually quite a few of these in 66, and even I think a few in 67. I have 2 of them. I bought this one from Adam, so Coins and Ghouls. I do like mine better, even though this one has better luster. I just think this one's a little bit baggier. So you see some of the marks on the bust out in the field, whereas mine has a little bit better hidden marks. It does have that big one in the field down there, but I like this one better because it's the first DDO I personally found, and I do not plan on getting rid of it. This one, however, is for sale, and I will throw a link to this one in the description. It's got a little bit of splotchy tone there, where I guess an old PVC, or not a PVC, but an old 2x2 flip had a couple tears in it. But that one will be for sale. So if you need a DDO FS101, there you go. That one will be reasonably priced. They're not stupid expensive. I was thinking if you watch this video and you tell me, hey, I watched the video, I'd say $60. That's shipped. If you don't watch the video and you buy it some other way, it's going to be probably closer to 70 shipped. But I think price guide on it's like 90, 95, something like that. So well back a price guide. You know, they're not crazy expensive for what they are, but it's a very nice example if you're looking for one. Next up, and this is one of the ones that I am pretty happy with the grade, is the DDO and DDR FS102. This one has some doublings, very minor, in the Liberty, I believe, and the Motto, and it's also got some doubling on the reverse. You can see a little bit of America's kind of thicker there. This coin, it's not a overpowering DDO or a DDR, but it's the fact that it's a combination, which is why this one's on the list. This one in a 65 is actually a decent grade, so that's probably the one I'm happiest with grade wise so far out of everything we've seen. And then last for 1963 Denver is an MS64, and it is super clean, and it is also super void of luster. It's terminally toned. There's a little tiny bit of luster just kind of hiding out there. But it does have some scratches. I believe those are on the coin. So it's not like it would grade super high anyway. It's just kind of there. This one, not a pretty coin. Probably shouldn't have ever submitted this one. But here it is. And it was more of a test to see what it would get. And it got a 64. And then last year for the silver, 1964. This one is a DDR FS803, and I bought this one. You can see that very fat America right there. I think it goes all the way through United States, and then they're even some in $quarter, but it's really in that AMER. Very fat. This one is an XF45. I bought this from Blue Ridge Silverhound, so thank you, Sean, for this one. And then I sent it off and got it graded. Pretty low population on those. Next up, a 1964 Type B reverse FS901. And again, this one is in 65. This one's okay. It's not the prettiest 65. It's not the worst 65 either. But I do plan to try to find a 66 to upgrade this one with. It is a nice coin, and you do have the Type B reverse, so you got the arrow and the leaf touching. You got the arrows terminating behind the leaf, and then you've got the big space between the E and S. So nice Type B reverse on that one. And then last and certainly not least, this one is one that is staying, and it is staying in this grade unless I personally find one much higher. 1964 Denver DDO FS101 in an MS65. This is a pretty nice 65 as well. Again, it does have a few marks out here. It's got that one more distracting mark, but this is a 64 Denver FS101. Very nice coin. Glad to have that one. So realistically, out of all of these, let me kind of bring them back in. Out of all 4 years that we have represented and the one we don't, there's basically 2 coins that I have in the grade that I want them. And the rest I have a lot of work to do. Some of these, like the 803, it's just difficult to find them. It's hard finding nice ones. It's hard finding nice 64s that haven't been circulated or beat up or just 60. I've seen BU 64 rolls and they just get dumped into the junk silver drawer, and they're just fresh BU rolls. So they're getting beat up where you would never do that with any other date other than 64s or 64 Denvers. And they're just getting extra marks and scratches, so it just pushes that average grade down for the entire first half of the 60s, really. But again, this is what it is for right now. Yeah, you're not gonna just immediately jump into it and have everything in the top grade and everything exactly how you want it. Sometimes you got to work your way up and trade them a little bit. And that is definitely what I'm trying to do in this decade. Again, I do have the 62 FS 101 coming back. It's not super high grade. Again, it's also a place filler, but they're just hard to find these varieties. And there's so many of them. I think there's about, I want to say like 4 double die reverses for 64. And there's some double die obverses, and then there's the type B reverse, and then there's the type C reverse 64D, and then it's just, there's so much to look for in just 5 years, and I only have a portion of it so far. But if you enjoyed this, please hit that thumbs up, and if you'd like to see more, including the late 60s, when you see my collection of the nicer clad quarters that I have and some of the varieties, please make sure you're subscribed, because I will be posting that and going up all the way through the end of the series, at least through 98, and I'll probably throw in the Crossing the Delawares with those. And yeah, if you enjoyed this, please hit that thumbs up, and if you'd like to see more, please subscribe, and thanks for watching.